Hey guys, welcome to part 2 of my developmental edits novelog. I have done a bit more since the end of the last one. I think I only hit like 9,000. Currently I'm at 35,000, which is not where I want to be, seeing as today is the 22nd and I want it to be done. However, I'm not upset about that because I've actually been putting a lot more details into everything, even rewriting quite a bit as I'm going through that. So I wanted to kind of explain what it is I actually do when I'm doing developmental edits, aside from the organizing part, which was the reverse outlining and like editing in chunks. A lot of what I've done so far is remembering characters that are not the main and kind of looking at their plots, because while they don't have necessarily a huge arc themselves, they still are a part of these characters' lives and their actions do affect the character in one way or another. So in one example with Sparrow, she was adopted into the Solis family and is primarily like the caretaker for Jenny, who was handicapped in the first book. If you haven't read the first book, I'm not telling you what happens because I don't want to spoil you. But aside from Jenny, there are, Jenny's parents, Jenny's sister, and then her cousin, as well as her aunt, uncle, and grandma living in the household, and like the maid and everything. So there's a few characters there who she is interacting with on the daily, especially as she's becoming more and more independent. I went through draft 1 and I was primarily focused on Sparrow and Jenny's relationship because that was a very significant part of the plot. It's as it was in book 1 and moving forward with book 2. But I didn't even introduce her family, like the Solis family, until a couple chapters in, like chapter 3 or 5, where they like sat down at breakfast. And I think I even just glanced over, like I mentioned her parents' names, but I never mentioned her sister or her cousin or anybody else there. And I was like, and they are definitely there. One of the things was I'm making sure that I mentioned them earlier on where it was appropriate. While they're out, they come back to the house and the family's outside greeting people. So that was my opportunity to very briefly introduce, or reintroduce like who everybody was, their names, and kind of their relation without doing so much detail, since those pieces of like interactions from book 1 can come up in context in later conversations. That was one of the big things that has had an effect, because now I'm aware of the cousin having a different role than non-existence. He's actually working closer with his father, who is very knowledgeable about Sun, which is Sparrow's hometown. There's a bunch of other things going on, so definitely having another player in the game, as well as looking at the change in relationships with Jenny and her family after the events of book 1. That was very important. Like, I had to completely add in chapters that I didn't have before. My comparisons from draft 1 to draft 2 for like the chapter scale or however is very skewed right now, and it's great because it does feel a lot more natural with certain conversations. I didn't just jump into something because I knew it needed to happen. It flowed a lot better. Really, a lot of the developments is I'm developing characters. My core plot I'm pretty satisfied with. There are probably parts that I mentioned, like it didn't feel natural getting to that point, but with working with the characters and seeing how they have effects with their relationships, that can, help improve on that, or it could change the direction entirely. So that was a big thing that's happened so far. Another big thing that is coming up with the developmental edits is, while I'm writing an outline and thinking of the characters' motivations, if there's something that like I said, doesn't make sense, like I think in Rome's chapter was first, but his first chapter, he decided to go back to Sun from his, essentially like the lumber camp up north where he was working, and it felt like you could understand why, because he's been away for so long, and it just felt like it was the right time. But I wanted to really reinforce why him now making that decision was relevant, and it wasn't just like, he's been away for so long, he decides to go back. It's like, no, why does he decide to go back? Why is it important at this time in his adult journey thing going on that he wants to go back? And that was a whole nother chapter as well. So I'm adding in significant content with this. It's super fun actually, like, because it gets you like excited for the story all over again, and I get to read it and then I'm almost alpha reading it for myself and then editing it before my real alpha/beta readers get it. Hopefully soon, which I may have them start at the end of the month, so I got about another week to make some more progress with that. So today, that's where we're at, about 35,000 words of the document. So we're a little less than a third, since I do see it going over 100, but I am very confident that all of the work I'm putting into it now is just making it stronger. So if it takes a little bit more time, because I definitely thought I could just like blow through 10K a day, when it's really like, if it's a day that I work, maybe 5K. We are taking the time that it needs in order to really build foundations. That's the biggest thing, I guess, building foundations and characters and making sure we're not forgetting things and things make sense. So I hope that makes sense. So yeah, I'm gonna hop in. It's about 6 o'clock, 6:15 after work today. And we're gonna work for a few hours and see what we can do, but we've got, like I said, we've got to the end of the month to really truck through it before Camp Nano. So let's do some edits. Hey guys, I thought it was a great time to pick up on the part 2 of developmental edits for Den of SPARROWS. Today is March 24th, so I'm definitely late. I did not make my deadline of the 22nd, but seeing my progress, where I kind of actually like really excited, because I am just about into chapter 15, which is another Sparrow chapter, and things have shifted around, not too much. Definitely Rome's side is still, like, his chapter pacing is pretty consistent, whereas with Sparrows, some I had to like split up differently. So even though I'm in Sparrow's new chapter 15, it's, where is my document? So like the second half that was chapter 9 for Sparrow is now Sparrow's chapter 15. So she's definitely got a lot more going on. And the current good word count I have written here is 43,653. I knew draft 1 ended at 100,000, but I also knew that it was not fully done because there were a couple scenes I needed to add, as well as like actually writing the last chapter of the ending. So I knew that. So I knew it was going to be like, if I had drafted all that, it might have been 105, whatever. My goal in a way was to at least get it close to book 1, which was 112,000, just so they can be about the same size. But there is a lot more information in this book, so I was like, it's gonna be longer. It's gonna be like 120. Just for kicks and giggles, I did copy over from draft 1. If I had actually all of the same chapter layouts that I had with Sparrow and Rome, plus added in the extra information. Granted, there have been some rewording, but everything that I copied over, I have not got to. It just essentially puts me at chapter 15, if that makes sense. So another way just to gauge my progress. With all of that copied over, it's like 52,800. So almost 10,000. But it's really like 9,500 word difference in material. So yeah, so instead of it being, you know, I'm at 43 of 100, I'm at 43 of 110 plus. So super excited about that. Not that word counts necessarily matter, especially when you're paying for an editor and you're paying by the word, like less is more. But knowing that, yes, I'm working slowly through these developmental edits, but I'm actually adding content, and I think the stuff that I've added has really strengthened the characters so far. I'm very proud. And it is the 24th, and I am gonna probably go work out just to take a break from sitting down. Initially, I wanted to get to like 60,000 today, but if I have to rewrite, which I know I have to rewrite the start of chapter 15, then it's gonna take me a little longer. So if I can get to close to 50, that'd be awesome. But any progress is gonna be great because this book is getting stronger by the day, and I am so excited. Also, I think it's fair to do like a brief cover reveal for book 2. So when earlier this week my mom had come over and we printed out her environmental cards in colors, we went to Office Max and I was like, I want to see what my cover looks like in color. So real quick, you get to see book cover. Okay, there, that's all you get. So stay tuned for a better review, a full review of that, which I was gonna do at the end of March, so I still could do that, but I want to finish this draft 2 and then go into it and do the cover reveal and then be super excited. And yeah, April's gonna be cray cray because it's not just Camp Nano. No. Because I never succeeded at that anyway. It's gonna be April Annihilation. More on that later. Okay, it is about 10 o'clock, so I am going to stop working on this for today. I'm at 47,000 words now, so I've made about just under 4,000 words of progress in draft 2, chapter 16 now. So I had to like rewrite part of the beginning, and then there's a whole scene I'm adding, so I'm writing more. And like I mentioned, I would love to be making more progress more quickly, but having to write in these scenes and strengthen everything is one of my favorite parts, even though it's definitely taking longer, but it's okay. And I didn't even get back to work on this until like 8:30. Got those other words done, so looks like on average an hour and a half to 2 hours I can get through about 3,000 to 4,000 if I have to write anything new, not just read through and like tidy up a few things. So that's I'm trying to track my progress, like the times that I'm actually spending, and not just like I had a whole day and I only got 2,000 done. It's more like, no, I only worked for an hour and a half. That's why I got 2,000 done. But I got 4,000 done. And today total, I got about 6,000. So that's definitely going to help me gauge, because starting next week with April Annihilation, we're going to be cray cray and try to work with a schedule like this. So for April Annihilation, I have like 3 main goals I want to accomplish, and I'm just going to like commit as much time as I can when I'm not at work. That's what those pink highlights are. To doing that. So that's why like all of these are just edit. Like I'm editing until it's done, even though April starts on Friday. I would love to think that I would get through all the edits by Thursday and start writing on Friday, but I'm pretty sure I'll still have edits to do, though I do need to start writing. And then in this calendar, I have the word counts that I need to hit for every day written, and my goal is going to be 40,000 words instead of 30 or 50. And with that, it is officially 10 o'clock, so I am going to shut down my computer and call it a night. I will probably put another post on like Facebook and whatnots to see what questions people have about developmental edits while I'm doing this part 2 of the video, and it's not just me talking about my progress. So if you do have any specific questions that I don't end up answering in this video, leave them in the comments down below. But I'll see you in the next clip in like 3, 2, 1. Oh, good morning. I just woke up. It's like 10 a.m. on Sunday, the 27th. Today I don't have to work, and tomorrow I don't have to work. So I'm gonna be working on my stuff as usual, because what else do? I do a lot of things, and I do waste a lot of time in retrospect, but the puppies need love too. So this video is sponsored by dog hair. Gets everywhere and never stops. We are at 50,444 words to start today, and I'm in the middle of a chapter with an already written scene from draft 1 to sort of read through and tweak. So it should be a good boost start. So here's where my outline is at. We are 2 full pages and I'm in chapter 17 right now. Woo. Got the writing glasses on. I keep looking over here because that's where I'm in the screen, but okay. All right, we are ready. We are ready for edits. Sorry, boy. I know he always wants to come when I need both of my hands, but no. Can you lay down and chill out? Can you lay down? You are so needy right now. We're about page 186, and this same scene was page 132 in draft 1 because there's a bit of a skew in the chapter progression, and I've added things, so it's getting much longer. Anywho, I'm gonna do this. You do your thing. Whew, okay. So we are now in chapter 18 with Rome, and this is an entirely new chapter, which will kind of help with the new balance that's been created by shifting and kind of spreading out some of Sparrow's. But he is on the hunt, which is a very prominent theme in this book. So it's I'm excited to write the scene because I have pictured it a couple times, and it's, now I'm just, actually drafting it. So it's probably not going to be the best written since I'm drafting and moving on without worrying about its edits too much. However, kind of excited to revisit Rome's struggle and his line walking, not necessarily between like good and evil, but just of his moral decisions as things continue. So that's going to be super fun. But it is 12:40 and I'm hungry. All right, we are back from lunch and it is 1:25. So since we are jumping back in, I think I'll answer one of the other questions I got, or a couple of them if I can get them together. So my friend Via asked, is there a dreaded red pen involved? Not with developmental edits. So I typically don't break out the red pen until I have a physical proof copy in my hand, which makes sense since I'm, actually writing into it. But I actually enjoy red pen time. It's starting any stage of edits that I dread because essentially I'm back at the beginning of the book and I just see all of these millions and bajillions of words ahead of me, and it's daunting. It really is. Once I get into it and I see the progress, I enjoy it because I believe that I'm making it better and I'm adding things to it. So I actually do enjoy that layer of editing. Another part of her question was, are there any hard lines you refuse to cross or touch during edits? Like, nothing is off the table, but if there's a phrase that like I really like, even if it sounds kind of weird, I may just not necessarily skip over it, but I won't try to perfect it until the later drafts to give it the time to figure out how to make it word better. And sometimes the editor does help me with that. There's been phrases that there have been phrases that I was in love with, checking my grammar right now, in the past that I was so into what I was trying to say, but it did sound kind of like weird as the wording itself. And then I think the editor kind of pushed me in another direction, not in another direction, but like she tidied it up grammar-wise a bit. And then when I got to that phrase later, I may or may not have changed it to something else. So nothing is untouchable in the edits. That's another little bit of my editing knowledge base and experience. So I got 358 words in that sprint. Things are happening. I always feel like there's a lot more exposition in Rome's chapters because he often goes off on his own. So he gets some chunky paragraphs, but that was still good progress. I do feel like I need to just not sit for a minute, so. Okay, sprint is done. Let me see how much I got written. Got 374 words, so we're averaging just under 400 for every, it'd be like 20 minutes because that was like 19 minutes, I think. Because that's pure, that's just writing, guys. Everything's writing in that. So rolling again. Number 8 is edits. Dun, dun, 5:46. So we've been doing this for way too long. Oh my lord. Okay, so I have a lot of footage that I'm gonna have to edit at some point. But that was kind of fun. That was definitely fun, and I think we will continue dice days in the future. Overall, we did do, let's see, we're in chapter 18. So I have written, wow, my English is great, by the way. I have written 1,119 words, 2420. So I have written 1,100 and I also edited through 1,300 with some writing in that as well. So we're doing okay. We're doing okay. We're doing okay. We are not done with this scene or this chapter. And we're at 52,849. So I'm going to write that down in my updates and get ready for stream. Okay, so as far as developmental edits go right now, it is the 1st of April and I am starting it at 65,000 words. Definitely did not hit my goal of completing it this past month. But like I've been saying, been making progress that I'm proud of. And I'm sort of midway, maybe starting to pass the midway point, and it's actually, these couple chapters feel a bit rough. I'm gonna try to do my best to get through them and do what I can, but I might just need the beta reader feedback just to see if it feels forced. I don't know, guys. Like, it's not like a huge reveal, but it's the decline after the midpoint, I guess, if you're doing it by beats. So it's not all too terribly exciting, and I think I probably have to write a bit more for Rome, and I hope I have it in me, but we're gonna see how that goes. I'm just like staring at this document being like, are you okay? Like, am I just editing or do I have to add stuff? So I don't really know where I'm at. I'm sure part of it is that I've been pushing and pushing and pushing to make progress. So, and not just with this, with like everything that's going on right now. So I feel like I'm probably a bit drained. I'm trying not to crash, but I probably need to refill my well somehow, some way. Finally have reached 70,000. So finished chapter 23 and 24. I definitely had to tweak a bit in chapter 23, because this is the section where I've needed to make a couple changes from the first draft, and like I think because it's, like I said, I'm redrafting, so it's my first time writing it. I don't know necessarily how strong it is, but I'm going to take a break and eat dinner and kind of think about if this is the path that I want to take, which I've been thinking about it, writing it this way. So I think the path, as far as the plot goes, is correct. It's just the execution feels a bit messy, but there's going to be more edits, so I'm trying not to dwell on it and just continue tightening up the rest of the plot. But I will admit, I feel like the endings are my initial weak points while I'm like really finalizing all the pieces and making sure it all works together. So there is a high chance that the second half will still have some tweaks in the next draft once I hear back from betas. So break time and then back to the grind. Hey guys, it's been a minute. It's been actually several minutes. It's been like a couple weeks since I filmed an update, I think. Maybe it's only been a week, but it feels like a long time. But I have actually been very, very productive. I also changed the layout of the office a bit, so it's a different background, and I think it's a little bit more concise, maybe. I don't know. Stuff over here, calendar over here where I can touch it, and you can see I've been doing good with my edits. Not with my writing, which I also wanted to do for NaNoWriMo with book 3, but getting through the edits. I am currently at like 109,000. I think I can get to the end today. It might be like tomorrow morning, but I'm really gonna push today because like everything at the end is moving so quickly and I'm just like, yeah. But I wanted to film to remind people who write in different tenses or who read books in first person when they write in third person. Sometimes that sticks with you. This is the second time in this draft that I randomly switched to present tense, and it must have been whatever book I was reading when I wrote the scene. I can't even think of what I've read recently that's written in present tense, but if I read something in present tense or in first person or both, then it totally screws up the way I naturally write. So I just got to like edit through those and like remind myself what third person past tense is supposed to be. Another note that I wanted to touch on with the developmental edits is things that I notice while doing developmental edits that I don't necessarily worry about so much in this draft, but I note for the upcoming draft 3, which is also what I will be editing once I get some feedback from my beta readers. So with developmental edits, I'm mostly focusing on making the story concise, all the transitions are smooth, everything makes sense, characters are present and being helpful, or at least, having a need for their existence. But what I look at, or what I notice and what I plan to address in draft 3 are word variances. Common things like smiling, for example, or using eye gestures, or the way that I describe an area. Like, I feel like there's a lot of times that I use the word like dark and cold and, through a glance or did something. So like those are things I know that I think I can put a little bit more variance. So maybe they are crutch words. I guess they're crutch words. They're crutch phrases really. But in draft 3 is when I will be reading a lot closer to do much more like copy-ish line edits. So I'm checking for word variants. I'm checking for word usage as well. Sometimes I think a word means something and there might be a better word. So stuff like that. Also like cross-checking with book 1 to make sure I didn't change like anybody's eye color, or just like, do they eat meat or not? Like stuff like that. So I do actually have an encyclopedia document started with profiles of everybody, but I've never finished it because I always just kept writing. So I really need to do that in the interim. And another thing with like word variants too is like using a word like back. Like they staggered back, or they turned back, they went back, blah, blah, blah. Like I have a lot of backs. And it was something that popped up in book 1 when I got it back from the editor as well. So I know that's a word to look out for. So I guess that falls in the word variants category and tidying up edits that I want to do before I send it to my editor, so it's as clean as I can possibly make it. That way anything they can give me is, you know, even a step above that to make sure it's a clean document. I mean, I don't think it's ever going to be like 100% perfect. I'm sure there's a typo out there. I am continuing with the story and I'm just making it the best that I can. So super excited. I will keep you guys updated. We're currently at 109, 359. So yes. I finished draft 2 of Den of SPARROWS yesterday. It took me, I think I started at 3:30 and then it was like 11:30 last night when I finished, but I finished with 122,364 words. Yay! It's so many. Which is funny because I did semi-plan, or like I visualized like, okay, the last one was 110, 112. This one's gonna be like 120 because it's gotta be a little bit more. And it is. So I am going to go through the last few chapters to read through to make sure that they're smooth, because I was just going so quickly last night and I'm not 100% like happy with the last few lines, but I had a small like idea and I just want to see if the flow is good for the last 4 chapters, so that ending number might change a smidge. But then I'm going to get the KDP set up so I can order the proof copy and get to see it in its flesh with the cover. I'm so excited for that, and that'll probably be the next video. Also, other books came in. I don't think you can see them. My second Waycott came in, and then I got a whole order of my paperbacks. They only took a week this time from KDP when it was taking like 2 weeks during the holidays, so that's good to know. And I have my third book of With a Cherry on Top to go through and figure out, just to make sure there's no typos, make sure all the printing turned out good, and then I can make it live, order the final copy of that. Anything else? Waiting on hardcovers. I only ordered 5 this time since I don't get too many hardcover orders, but they also shipped. And it was, and like during the holidays, again, I understand like shipping is generally slower then, but it was like a month exactly before they got to me, and within the week it said they shipped. So, okay. All right, so I'm going to, like I said, read through these last 4 chapters. If anything changes, I'll let you know. Okay, it is the same day. I just got cold, but we have the manuscript uploaded and the cover is uploading, so as long as all the lines look good, I'm going to be able to order that proof copy. Super excited to see it, and I can't wait to show you guys in the next video. In the next video, though, I did end up rewriting the last chapter, which was only like 1,000 words total, because like the last few ones were really quick and back to back, so they were pretty short. But I like the way it's gone better. Still like, this isn't the strongest line to end on, but I'm sure it'll come to me. But it's a lot better than it was last night, and I think it was just like a 300 or so word difference, so still 122,000 words, almost 123. And then I copied each chapter into the format that I used for book 1, because that was already formatted, so I just had to go chapter by chapter, because if I copy and paste the whole thing, then all my formatting was gone. So that was great. That took 2 of my 3 hours, but it's doing it, and it's gonna be a proof, and it's gonna be awesome, right, Atreyu? Yeah, Atreyu agrees. So yeah, I'm super happy about that. And like I said, in the next video, I will show you guys the cover and the proof copy, and we'll talk about what's to come in the next video. How many times can I say in the next video? Just one more. So I'll see you in the next video. Bye.